architect and paintings.
What time?
8 o'clock?
Okay.
No, 9.
I don't have
Send
it.
him an email so he can get the.
I will. And your email's gonna be Johnson
Yep.
Carroll County
Carroll County.
Architect and Paintings.
What time?
All right, cool.
So. That's.
So the 9th is a Saturday.
The full screen. Yeah, Thursday.
August watch, you might want to go on.
7th.
The 7th. And what time?
Checking with Cody right now.
Time.
9 o'clock. Now, and then when it's done, you just go to the thing, you can drive and. I'm living there, so I don't do that. I usually just like listen on the phone. Good luck to everybody.
Thank you.
Hey, they got stairs in the basement?
No.
You don't. Why did I just go that hill down? I toured this place.
Ladder?
You climbed through that?
Oh, yeah. Been out there much.
Sit out there? No, take me out there.
We're going maybe tomorrow. You'll be here?
Yeah.
I'll,
Well,
Hopefully I
you
get
said you're about
it.
3 days.
Or forward
from
one.
Okay.
hopefully I get an invite in the mail, but I wrote it down.
Good. Survived.
Did you guys get a ski? As much as
Yeah,
you
a
wanted?
lot.
Good.
It's excellent.
Did they still have it, so many people?
Yeah, you had to have a reservation,
Were you at Breckenridge?
but
Were you?
yeah, 6 days at Breckenridge and the boys went to Vail one day. And didn't like it near as much. It said it was real icy and so they were supposed to go to Vail 2 days and then they canceled the last day at Vail. Got back on Breckenridge.
So I text Neil, telling him he's late.
I called him today.
I should text him, make sure he's out of bed.
Morning, Dean.
Morning, Dean. You're on mute.
Like we got the camera set up a little bit different this time.
Yeah, we have a few more people. We had to spread her out a little bit more.
I see.
It's really great in here.
So, yes, Gene, I think either Steph or I will jump in behind you and do the paper. We'll change the order around.
We'll change it up.
We'll just change the batting order a little bit. Put Scott last and then
Great.
one of us will do it next week.
And I'll get you the email addresses too, or I'll just copy you. I tell you what, the next time I write it up, I'll just copy you on it so you can read it.
I can do that too. No, we can see different formats.
I did get an email from Dawn. They'll try to be here at 11, but she's running into fog issues. She's got Calhoun County Clerk at 10.
I didn't think it was too bad.
Well, she says it's been really spotty. She said it wasn't too bad when she left the house, but we got. I think she's trying to do as many as she can this year. In person. There's a big change. Couple of issues in front of us right now. Price of mental health is gonna go up.
It'll go up a lot.
Well, there's two avenues yet. They may go to 39,
You don't have to do it.
or they may jump
You don't have to do it.
full 42.79. You may have to slide down stuff.
Congratulations.
Oh, thanks.
You care where you sit?
I don't care. I like to be, I like to be as far away from.
They moved it. You should
It
get,
actually probably.
you should take Gene sheet. Thank you. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Here's the road stuff,
Okay.
and here are your keys. This the one opens the front door and actually opens every door in the building and that one opens the door. And Dalton is working on your iPad. Oh, they all have iPads. Ooh.
All right, we have live. Very good. All right, it's 9 o'clock. Let's go ahead and do the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Scott, want to make sure you're welcome. All right, the first thing is the agenda. Is there any additions, Courtney, that you have?
I have none.
Anybody else got any additions? Okay, I'll look for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the approval of the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
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 The minutes of December 28th. I thought they read well. I make the motion that we approve those.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the minutes of December 28th approval. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries. All right, first item up is a temporary chair.
I'll make a motion to appoint him, Rich Ruggles, as temporary chair.
Who's that?
Oh, boy.
I'll second that motion.
I'm out. I'm okay. I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, first item up is a permanent chair position. I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Gene Miners as the chair for this upcoming year.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries. Gene,
Good.
turn the wheel over to you. We used to just trade seats, but we don't have to do that this year.
Well, we don't. Well, first of all, I think I want to thank Rich for his leadership this last year. It's been a very trying year. You did an excellent job. I think we're going to have some challenges again this year. We're still not out of the woods by any means. And I definitely want to welcome Scott on board. I look forward to working with you. And we'll just do the best we can, and that's all we can do. And we've always worked together, and let's hope that continues. Next thing on the agenda is to appoint vice chair.
I nominate Stephanie Hausman as vice chair.
And I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Stephanie Hausman as vice chair. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion
Aye.
carried. Okay, next thing we have on the agenda is adopt resolution regarding special moving permits. This is one for the secondary roads. Their motion to approve that. We thought gives the authorization to staff the condition.
I'll make a motion to approve the special moving permits.
I'll second.
It's been moved and second to approve the adopt a resolution regarding special moving permits. Roll call?
Miners,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Ruggles,
Yes.
Shetler.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Okay. Next, we have is adopt a resolution regarding the fixed charges. I'll make a motion that we approve that resolution.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adopt a resolution regarding the fixed charges. Roll call?
Miners,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Ruggles,
Yes.
Shetler,
Yes.
and motion carries.
Okay, next we have is adopt a resolution regarding the destruction of records.
I'll make a motion to approve that resolution.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved in second. Roll call?
Miners,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Ruggles,
Yes.
Shetler,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay. Next we have is the adoption of a resolution naming the official county newspapers, which is currently Carroll Daily Times, Herald, Coon Rapids Enterprise, and Manning Monitor. And we had a request with the Glidden also.
Yeah, and they provided their circulation numbers, which is approximately 400 papers per week. My understanding that you select the ones with the most circulation, so I think they would continue to be that we've used in the past.
And we have to have three. if we
Correct.
can.
With circulation numbers in from everybody else.
We got them from the Herald, which is, they're saying print subscribers 1,972, e-edition 362, Manning Monitor 660, Coon is 728, and Glidden is 400, like I said, so.
Hey, Courtney, another question for you. The state code requires just print, or does it require print and online
The code, I think, refers to print,
to print?
yes.
And that's what we should and have to follow, is that correct?
Correct.
And there has been efforts to try to get that changed to
Include both?
not necessarily print, and there's been very much resistance to that. You can understand the reason why. And, but there has been an effort to get that done, and it hasn't happened.
And we do put all our minutes on the website, so we're already doing the electronic portion of that, but yeah, we're still required to print.
Okay. Just make sure there's clarification out there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, is there a motion to adopt that resolution?
I'll make the motion to adopt the resolution of naming county newspapers.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been
Is
moved.
that all, how many, is that all 4 newspapers then?
For all three.
It'd be just the three that we've been using.
All right, gotcha. That's what I thought.
Is there any other discussion? Actually, you know, Dean, the more we have to do, then the more our cost would be too also.
Exactly. That's the point that I was making.
$500 or $600 every time you want to do anything.
And that was the reason why I asked if we had to do 3 of them, because,
Right.
and I think I've asked that question before, so. Any other discussion? If not, roll call?
Miners,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Ruggles.
Yes.
Shetler.
Yes.
Hey, motion carries.
Okay, next we have is the approval of the 2021 holiday schedule.
Right, you should have all received a copy of that. Do you want me to list those, or do you want to do it, Jean?
I don't have it in front of me.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll just go ahead and read the holidays. So we've got New Year's Day, obviously, January 1, 21. President's Day, February 15th, 21. Memorial Day, May 31st, 21. Independence Day, July 4th, 21. Labor Day, September 6th, 21. Veterans Day, November 11th, 21. Thanksgiving Day, November 25th and 26th, 21. And then Christmas Day, December 25th, 21. Any holiday falling on a Saturday will be Friday before, any on a Sunday will be the Monday after.
Okay, you have heard the holiday schedule. Is there a motion to approve the holiday schedule?
I'll make a motion to approve the holiday schedule. These are consistent with the past, correct, Courtney?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay,
Gina, I'm gonna
next,
pass these down. Sorry, didn't mean to. These are the resolutions. Most of them require all board member signatures, but the top one is just Gene's, so if you wanna, he can get started on that. If you wanna wait till after the meeting, that's fine too.
Okay. Next we have is appoint the county Board of Health members. And there's 3 members there. Currently, and Dean, there's nobody has said they want off this, did they?
No, everyone said that they would continue to serve the board.
So we would want to reappoint Dr. Art Behrens, Michelle Heim, and Julie Hodney. Oh, wait, I got that wrong. Art Behrens, Julie Hodney, and Dean Shetler. So I'll make a motion that we appoint those to the Board of Health.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Next we have is the appointment of the County Magistrate Appointing Commission. And that currently we have on there, it would be Julie Gore, Paul Fricky, and Mike Franny. And I'll make a motion that we appoint those 3. Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Okay. Then move-
I just have a question on that, Courtney. It says on our sheet here that we have 5 of them up for appointment this year.
The other ones are, well, one is appointed by the Chief Justice. If you look there, it says appoint Chief Justice, and then there's also the County Bar Association picks the rest.
Okay. So we just appoint the 3.
That's
Correct.
right.
All right.
Did I ask for a vote on that?
Well, we got a motion and a second, but no vote.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Next we have the Appoint County Medical Examiner and Assistant Examiner. The medical examiners are Dr. Mike Slattery and Josh Williams as the assistant. And then, I don't know, is there any additionals on this, Courtney, that we have?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, then we have Justin as investigators, Justin Hagan, Rayanne Meyer, Josh Smouse, Will Saunders, Don Ketchum, Marissa Rothmeyer, and Kenny Hansen.
And Carroll is also one too, but I don't know if he was listed.
Oh, Daryl, that's right, Daryl is.
And he always has been. I'm not sure why he's never been listed.
Yeah.
I mean, we can certainly add him to the list if you want.
I think we do, it should.
Okay, we'll get Daryl added to that list then. Daryl Baker.
Daryl Baker. Is there a motion to appoint those?
I will make the motion to appoint, or to approve the medical examiner and assistant examiner with the addition of Carroll Baker.
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Contrary, motion carried. Next is the weed commissioner, and that is currently Tony Vogel.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Tony Vogel as the weed commissioner.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye,
Aye.
Aye.
and I will abstain on that one due to relation. Next we have is appoint a zoning administrator, and that is, we would be making a motion to appoint Terry Kersey to that position. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
I'll second that.
it's been moved and second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Okay, next we have appoint zoning commissioners, which is 5. They're on an annual basis. And what I have come up with here is a list that we would have Katie Holtz, which is currently on there. And the rest would be all new, would be Janelle Lenz Schreck, Bill Vanami, Jacob Johnson, and Jason Klein.
Can you read those again, please?
Katie Holtz, Janelle Len Schreck, Bill Vanami, Jacob Johnson, and Jason Klein. And they are all outside the 2 mile zones too.
Okay.
And I tried to get them scattered around the county as much as I could. I'll check.
With the 2 mile zones, it's kind of
Yeah,
hard to
this
do.
is, it's hard to get these people. So is there I'll make a motion that we appoint those 5 commissioners. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Contrary, motion carried. Next we have is appoint Carroll County Board of Adjustments 5-year members, and that's for 2 of them. I will make a motion that we nominate Nathan Jansen, that's Janssen, and Tracy Unken. And the current members that are still on there will be Gary Robeck, Diane Sturm, and Linda Schrader.
So Nathan and Tracy are replacing Dave Wittrock and Brian Huffman.
Yes, because they neither one can be on there anymore because they
Okay.
live in
You
state.
live in Corpus, you live in-
So Gary, Diane, and Linda are still on.
Yep.
Okay.
Who are the new ones again? Please repeat that.
Nathan Jansen and Tracy Onken.
Okay,
I made a motion. Is there a second to that? Or
I'll second that.
any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carries. Okay, next we have an appointment to County Solid Waste Commission. And I would like to appoint Scott Johnson to that.
I'll make a motion to approve Scott Johnson for the Solid Waste Commission.
Okay,
I'll second.
it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Next is appointment to Region 12 Council of Governments Executive Board, which is currently Rich Ruggles. I'll make a motion that we reappoint Rich. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, appoint 2 members to Region 12 Council of Government Policy Council. That I would like to see Scott Johnson and Stephanie Hausman be appointed to the 2 positions. I'll make a motion to that effect.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Not. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Carried. Motion carried. Okay, next is appointments to City County Communication Commission. These poor devils. Gene Miners, Dean Shetler, and Ken Pingree, which are currently serving. And I'll make a motion to that effect. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion?
After that subject.
All right,
Now.
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Okay, appointment to the Lost Hills Development and Conservation Authority Board, Stephanie Hausman. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Carried, motion carried. Next we have is appointment to the Middle South Raccoon River Watershed Management Authority. That's Dean Shetler. I'll make a motion that we reappoint him.
I'll second.
Then move to second. Any further discussion? If Not all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Next, appoint HIPAA security officer. We have, was Megan Owen as privacy, and it used to be Carl for security, and I've changed that to Megan Owen for privacy and Dalton Morrison for security. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carried, or any opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have appointment to Western Iowa Tourism Board. Jason Christensen out of Swan Lake has been sitting on that, and I would like to see him reappointed to that. So I'll make a motion to that effect.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Contrary, motion carried. Okay, next we have is Nice Township trustees. We have two there that need to be appointed. I don't think there's been any issues with any of those, has there, Dean?
No, and I haven't heard anything, so I would make a motion to reappoint those.
Okay, so it's been a
That
motion.
would be, well,
It'd be Dale Pace and Doug Pudens, right?
okay.
Correct.
There's been a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Next is appoint Maple River Township trustees. This is one that, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Gene.
Well, this is the one where you had some changes, is that right?
Yeah, I've got one change. And I haven't been able to fill it yet, but I've got a pretty good lead on it. So, let's see where I'm at here. Yeah, Marvin Hegrick has decided not to run again. And Vince Gross, I have not heard from him. So I'm assuming that he's probably going to run again. So I'll just have to look for a replacement for Marvin Hegrick.
Okay, so then the motion right now should be for just Vincent Gross,
Yes.
and then we'll fill, and you're working on it.
Yeah.
Is that a motion then, Dean?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Is there a second? I'll second that. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carried. Okay, next we have Pleasant Valley Township, and I don't think there's been any issue there, so there'll be a reappointment of Daryl Quant and Don Grossman. I'll make a motion to that effect.
I'll second.
Been moved in second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Contrary, motion carried. Next is the appointment of the Roselle Township trustees. I have not heard anything there. Leanne Baumhover and Dale Behrens' terms are to be reappointed. I'll make a motion that we reappoint them. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carried. Next we have is the condemnation board. Really, I have not, my intentions are that we leave it all the same. The only thing is that Bob Potabom on the last group there has passed away. And I did reach out to his son Dean Potabom, and he will take that position. So I will make a motion that we leave the list as it is with the replacement of Bob Potabom by Dean Potabom. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, and second. Any further discussion? Not? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Next is the chair to make committee assignments. And I'm gonna just go down this list that's our committee appointments. And there, we've decided, some of the discussion that we've had, we didn't think it was quite fair to give Rolling Hills to Scott, so we did do some changes here. So my appointments are for Rich Ruggles, Region 12 Council of Governments Executive Council. He'd be an alternate to Second Judicial District. Middle South Raccoon Water Management Authority alternate. North Raccoon Water River Watershed Management Coalition, an alternate, and also an alternate for East-West Nishnabot Watershed. And he will be the voting member for Rolling Hills Community Services. For myself, I'll be the voting member of Cherokee Detention Center, New Opportunities, the City County Communications Center, an alternate to the Landfill and Solid Waste, a member for the CADC Board, and then also the Mount Carmel Maple River Sewer Systems. Scott Johnson would be the Carroll County Landfill and Solid Waste. Second Judicial. Region 12 Council of Governments DCAT Committee. Region 12 Council of Governments Policy Council. The RSVP Foster Grandparent Board. Also on the Safety Committee and the Coalition of Human Services. And also on the Ambulance Board. And now, remember, a lot of these boards probably don't meet that often, so that's why we're not loaded.
It might look a little scarier than it is.
So as of right now, we've got Rolling Hills being moved to Rich and then the ambulance board and solid waste being moved to Scott, correct?
That's correct.
All right.
Is your hand getting tired yet?
No, not quite.
It will be.
All right, and then for Dean Shetler, the E91 Board Representative, Carroll County City Communications Center, Carroll County Emergency Management Commission, the Board of Health, Region 5 Hazmat, the Conservation Board, Mount Carmel Maple River Sewer Systems, and then also the watersheds, the Middle and South Raccoon Watershed Authority, the North Raccoon River Watershed Management Coalition, East and West Nishnabot and Watershed Coalition. And again, several of these meetings happen at the same time, so. Then Stephanie House in Westco, Carroll Area Child Care Center Board, Region 12 Policy Council, the Hungry Canyons, or whatever it's called now. And then the LHDCA Board, the Lost Hills Development and Conservation Authority, and also an alternate to the Cherokee Detention Center, and an alternate to New Opportunities, and also an alternate to Rolling Hills. Is that okay? All right, and then as far as the union negotiations team, the secondary roads department negotiation would be myself and Scott Johnson. Assume you would be willing to do that. And on the ambulance negotiation, it would also be myself and Scott. The other thing I would like to add on there, I think down below that, we need to have our representatives that's going to do that general relief audit out at New Opportunities. I think it's a good time to put this in there. And I would like to have Rich and Stephanie do that if that's possible.
And you have to exempt yourself.
Yeah, and I'm going to exempt myself because,
I do appreciate that.
yeah, because I'm the board president out there. So.
And we'll make, Steph, you want to contact them?
I think what I do is just call Chad and tell him what we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you just notify Chad what we've
Well,
done?
why don't you, I'll do that. I'll call him.
And then he can just set up a time. Or
Yeah.
try
Well,
to-
they just did an update, what,
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, so we should be good for a little bit.
Yeah, I think maybe maybe in April.
But it's just something that he, when it works out for
Yep,
him.
it's something he kind of mentioned, kind of wanted to do, and I think was a good idea.
And I think he wanted to stay away from a certain time. Denver,
Right.
so I think like coming up here now and then later on.
So do you want to call that just the general assistance audit
Yes,
team?
Do you want me to get a hold of him?
you, if you want to, all
I
right.
can, I can call Chad.
Okay. Yeah, just call it general relief assistance. And I don't think we need to appoint them as general relief. We probably had made an appointment,
And I don't
but I think
so.
we're being, we're doing it on a contract. We don't need to do that.
I would agree with
We're
that.
Basically doing it on a
I
contract.
would agree. That's what I would agree.
Okay,
Now,
So-
Corky, you'll also get a copy of all this to us
sometime in the near future.
Yeah, so usually Joanne would just update this when she was doing the minutes, but I'll probably do it today when I
Okay.
go back.
No,
so.
I don't have, no hurry, just so we got a hard copy of it.
Don't hurry, but I'd like it done by now.
Mine's getting a little scratched up, so.
It's not a big deal. It's already set up. So
All
just
right.
change the names.
All right.
I made a motion for those appointments. Is there a second to that effect?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Okay, now, let's go to adopt the resolution 2021-001, which is the resolution for construction evaluations on CAFO. Is there a motion to adopt that?
I'll make that motion.
Okay? I will second that motion. Any discussion? If not, roll call?
Miners,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Ruggles,
Yes.
Shetler.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
This is a resolution that authorizes us to have input in that people.
Okay, I have a question, Mr. Chair. It appears that we're cruising right along, and would you like me to notify Dawn to see if she can? She has a 10 o'clock in Calhoun County, was gonna be here at 11. Maybe we could get her to join us via Zoom.
That's fine.
10, 15, 10, 20, whenever she's done there.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay.
We've got to send her a link though.
Right, and let me text her and see if she wants to do that. Otherwise, we're gonna have to be quite a delay here, it looks like. And I have no problem with that, I just,
Better, unless you want to wait till next week.
I think her time constraints are just
Okay.
really, really bad right now. She's trying to put the budget together and she's having all kinds of issues, so.
Okay. We can adjourn for a while, take a recess, and come back. Next is our gym contract discussion. Maybe I better wait till Rich gets down there.
Now, go ahead.
So my understanding is we're not having too much communication with the other vendor.
The second vendor, has responded. It's like pulling teeth, trying to get an answer. You get a short answer when you get it. I think that, this, I know, it appears it's more expensive. That's the questions we're trying to get an answer to. It's cheaper to go the other way, unless there's a couple of questions that we haven't got responded to. I still don't think it'll be more expensive. I think this one will be more expensive. But the cooperation we're getting and the instant response and, it's been, I think overwhelming as when Steph and I were in the budget meeting, we had a long discussion with Carroll about that, and it's just all pointing, the signs are all saying, we need to stay away from there and we need to go over here.
And even all the references that we received gave astonishing reviews.
Has been pointing us, because I have outside I've been emailing other people that have them, seeing their response, and it's just been, we're having no issues, and one of the better things we've ever done, so.
Have you had that issues with the cost reports?
I was in on some of the emails. What I wanted an answer to, and they never, are they gonna do exactly what these guys are gonna do? From my understanding, all they were gonna do is the report, which these guys said they would do also, but I'm guessing that it's my understanding that PCG will actually do the legwork in order to get the money. Whereas the other company, to me, looked like they would just do the reporting part of it.
Send a report and.
Yeah, but I, like I said, I'm only,
And I kind of seen that somewhere too, that it seemed like.
That's kind of the copy we.
but no, we've always had very good luck with them, but we've done that for years and years and years. We know exactly what they want from us. We just give it to them, they get this report done, and we pay them, and that's it. So we've never had an issue, but this is something totally different. And I know John got a copy of this, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Did I send copy you in on that?
Yeah, I can't remember what it
It's one of the best
said.
contracts. He really likes it.
Mhm.
It's a great contract.
It was those-
He's, in fact, he made the statement, he said, I wish all companies would write
I
contracts
think I
like
gave
this.
Probably did.
So, Rich, do you want to continue to proceed with this, you think?
I think so. I think that this EMT, we're running against a tight window. I think we have till January 17th. But I'd say we don't push the window. I think let's go ahead and, I'd like to vote on it today, just to take the company and we'll get the contract signed and start moving forward. That way we don't lose that window.
And they already did an extension.
They have already done an extension for us, so.
Any questions, Dean?
Well, so this is on the GEMT, the Public Consulting Group?
Correct.
Is that
Correct.
correct?
Out of Texas, the one that.
Right.
The lady came on, Jill.
Right. So my only concern, I think, I'm okay with everything. I did not see in the agreement that there was any upfront dollars. Has that gone away?
No, that's still there. That's.
So where is that in this agreement? I don't feel I do not feel comfortable about that. I mean, we've been told and we've been taught not to give any money with promises of
The 9%'s on the back page, but not the actual.
promises of money to be had in the future.
Yeah, the amount, percentage, Stephanie just pointed out, the percentage is on the back page, but the dollar amount upfront cost was not listed.
So I read the the compensation agreement, but nowhere in this agreement did I see that we had to front any money.
I think you only have to do it to once the money, before you get the money, right? I think the legwork, you don't have to pay it up front.
Correct. I think that's the way it goes, is when we actually go for the money, I think we have to put up front.
But I think that's part of the federal rules that we have to contribute to state share in order to get the federal share, or someone does.
That's,
And the state's not doing it.
the state's not doing it, and they pass that cost off on the other entities. That's how I understood it.
So it sounded like kind of like we write them a check one day, they write us a check the next day. Is that what we're talking about?
Well, I think that might be how it works, Dean. I think so. I can't tell you exactly. We can get a clarification on that question. I just don't want to take too long here and lose that window, but I don't want to get us in a contract that we may regret. But
So John has read this and he said it's okay.
yeah, and he made no comment about the payment. So, but if it wasn't listed in there, he may not have recognized that there was a need for that.
For the payment?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a real gray area, and I don't feel real comfortable about that. I guess that's my only concern.
Well, I really can't speak for Daryl, he's not here, so. What do you think about that?
I mean, I have no problem making a motion agreeing to the contractor agreement with letterhead that states the fee that we charge. If they could get us a fee that they charge us, is that what you're needing, more on the gray area, just the amount that we would pay?
No, the fee is in the back page.
Yeah, the 9%.
The 9%, yeah. No, what I'm concerned about is giving somebody giving somebody money for something that we haven't received.
So maybe some clarification on the payment that the county is required to make to the state.
Correct.
To the federal.
I thought it was to the state.
It's to the state.
I thought it was federal too, but I could be wrong.
And I think it's just the state send it off.
I thought it went to the state and then the state secured the federal money and then we got it back.
Right. That's the process.
But it'd be nice to have that in writing, so we knew what we were
Okay.
looking at. And I understand that's not part of their contract because we aren't paying them. But it'd be nice to have that kind of, I know it's not gonna be part of the contract because we aren't paying that company.
Right.
But we are gonna be paying it to someone, so it'd be nice to have at least, I understand it won't be a contract, but something that tells us what we should budget for, or, because right now I don't have a clue. 9% of what? What do we have to give the, I need to put that in Daryl's budget.
For the 9%, I think, yeah, that's of what they recovered for you.
Yeah, so
9% of what was recovered, correctly?
Right.
Right.
So I got a question mark. What's it gonna be? Do I just guess?
And that is gonna be a hard thing to try to budget because
Well, at least the first year for sure.
you don't, until you get some track record, there's no way of, the company estimates that at $91,000, but that's an estimate based off of
Usage.
18 runs, I think, 2018.
Yeah.
Or, because those are the.
Reimbursements are always a moving target. I mean, it's pretty much just like the with the COVID thing. We don't know what that dollar amount's going to be going ahead. I guess one other thing, and Gene and Courtney can probably remember this. Back with our previous ambulance director, there was some talk about going. I mean, we were having billing issues at the time, and at that time, I looked into billing services that were going to do the whole thing, and they were going to charge 10% on what they recovered from Medicare and Medicaid. They weren't going to charge us for the billing service. They were going to charge us for what they recovered. So, I mean, that's a much better deal than this. But I guess we don't need a billing person. We already have one of those. But their thing is that through their billing, they could recover more dollars than what we were, significant more dollars than what we were getting at the time. So I'm just going to throw that out there, that there are other options.
And I think that was due, wasn't that due to how they coded the call more than anything?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Coding on the call, correct, was a big deal.
And I think this is a deal where we're trying to get a higher reimbursement on Medicare.
Right. So this is a 3-year contract, is that correct? As I understand it?
Didn't see the terms on that.
It sounds like for this thing to actually work, it has to be a 3-year contract. It's on the last page.
Unless terminated sooner.
And its termination is by just notification.
Yeah, you're right. It'd be a 3-year contract unless we terminate sooner.
I would agree to go ahead and approve this, but before we make any signatures, I'd like to be able to come up with with something that Courtney's requesting prior to signing the agreement. Just as long as everyone's comfortable.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. I just know the window is pretty narrow on us. I don't want to delay too much.
Can we delay the vote to next week?
Would be the 11th.
I mean, what I'm getting at is the information that we want, they should be able to give that to us just over the phone. Then follow up the letter.
Correct.
All we want to know is, when do we have to make this payment, how much it's gonna be, and who do we make it to?
And how does it work? Is it kind of like we write a check one day and the next day we get a check back, something like that? Is that how that works?
My understanding that we don't pay them for their fee of service. That doesn't get done till after
Right.
the year is done. Because that's based on what they collect for us.
Who do we get the reimbursement dollars from? Do we get it from GEMT or would we get it from the federal government or the state government?
Federal, I thought.
Pardon me?
That's why I thought we had to pay it to the federal, the state share to the federal. That's why I thought we had to pay the federal. And it really doesn't.
And then we get a government check back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, what the time frame in between that is, I don't know, not know.
Actually, right here, it says total contract agreement shall be contingency fee of 9% based on the federal share portion of payments received by the county under the GEMT program.
But it does not say
That's
here what.
run by the state
Yeah.
organization.
The federal dollars, I think, go through the state
And
and then come
trickle
to
down.
us.
In church, I think you're right. So that,
So it is federal money, but it's funneled through the state.
that first check, I believe, goes to the state for proof that that's their part of it, so then they can forward it to the Fed, so the Fed can send back and work it.
You know what, you may be right, the way that's the way kind of the federal works. If it's getting fed back to the state.
I think it's coming back to the state, so I would assume that the state has to, and that's why we have to write the check to them,
But then,
because they don't fund it.
what is the time frame between that and when we get money back? That's,
He's talking about the federal government, the state.
Yeah, I know,
government.
anything's possible or impossible.
Yeah.
Or not possible.
So do I understand it correctly that this is both Medicaid and Medicare reimbursement? Or just Medicaid?
I believe it's Medicaid. This would be the over and above on the Medicaid. Is that how you understood it?
How I read it. Which Carroll is here.
Yeah.
And I think that's right. I think it's just the one of them, I think.
Just Medicaid, yeah. Well, I mean, that's what, that would be the MCOs, and I mean, that's how the state clamped down on through the privatization thing. And
Right.
so, I mean, this is how we're able to get more federal dollars. I guess I kind of understand that, which the state would not get us.
No. And as I understand it, of course, we have a different ambulance program. I'm not sure there's a lot of counties going after that reimbursement. I think that percentage is fairly small. Why, it may be the way that they're structured, but why they don't do it, I don't know.
So in the lead on the first page, in the second, actually the first whereas, it says the whereas the Centers for Medicaid, Medicare, and Medicaid Services allow states to establish alternative payment methodologies for certain classes of providers, including ambulance providers. So it's possible that it could actually be Medicare and Medicaid. But I would say it would tend, because of the state, it would tend to lean more towards the Medicaid side of this thing. I don't know if there's any issues with Medicare. Is there with payment reimbursement?
Well, I think there is with both of them, I think.
So it might be both of them. I guess it really doesn't make any difference. I mean, I'm okay with it.
So it'd be nice to know those answers, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would.
The only thing is that I don't think that is part of the contract. So I don't know that you're gonna be in any bind signing the contract because it's not addressed in the contract. But yeah, it'd be nice to have some
Know
clarification.
how the pie is made.
Yes, yes.
So we're kind of assuming that we cut the check to the state files it with the feds, then the Fed money comes back through the state back to us.
That was the way I understood it.
Yeah.
Yep.
If that, I don't see another path for it. So I'm trying to decide whether it makes a difference whether we pass it. We signed a contract, we're still not locked into anything. Because if we don't make the payment, we're not in. And it doesn't say I didn't see anything in there that we don't make the payment, that's not a breach of contract, so. This is kind of one thing and then that's kind of something else.
Yeah.
And I don't see the contract as being a holdup to the process. Because if we don't decide not to go that way, to write the check and we don't agree with the way it's being done, this doesn't mean anything, we're still in the contract with them, but we're not doing any business with them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, to a certain degree.
And it is strictly just Medicaid, because if you go to page,
It really doesn't address that if you don't pay the payment.
Now, I guess another question that I would have is that every time we request reimbursement, do we have to write them a check?
I think we only get a reimbursement once a year, isn't it, on
Yeah.
That's the way I kind of understood her when she explained it, was
And then from page 7 until 9, it only mentions Medicaid.
if you'd like, if you want to, we'll table it off until next week and we'll see if we can get her to join us by Zoom. And she can explain her side of it.
You know what, the more I think we've got too many questions here, I think, right now.
Okay. And that's
Not
fine.
that I'm opposed to, but I think we need to get those clarifications. Let's table for next week. Let's get her involved in a Zoom meeting and,
Okay, that's okay.
but it's good discussion though. I mean, I think we're all in agreement. We like to go this route so we can get more reimbursements. Okay, we'll table that till next week then. Okay. Next we have is review and consider a settlement agreement. This would be to approve a settlement of claim ICP 053915A1.
Which would you prefer? Would you want her to join us by Zoom? I probably not gonna read the answer right now. She's going into their meeting, so.
Whichever works for her.
She'd like to come down, but,
We can wait for her.
okay. Very good.
We'll go on recess.
That sounds good.
Then Dave, you can get out and come back in. If we have to wait for Dawn, we'll just go on recess for.
That's fine.
Okay, now we lost our auditor.
Should I go get a signature or something?
Oh.
So if I understand these settlement agreements, they're both the same with the exception of one signature. Is that correct?
This is the settlement. as I said, the claim number. And this is all we do is approve that settlement today, and that's it. And then we have to wait until everything clears the rest of the path. And then, okay?
Okay.
Right. You need a motion on that?
Well, we better wait till she's back.
Okay.
Or she,
I know. She went down.
No, I think she had to go grab a signature really quick.
Well, we got a little bit of a break here. Rich, you and I are on for Wednesday afternoon?
Yes, Wednesday we do Carrie and Jason, correct?
Right.
Yep.
And then Scott, I've got you scheduled to do home care aids at 3 o'clock on Wednesday. Is that going to work for you?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't we just meet at the courthouse, Scott?
At what time? At 3 o'clock?
3 o'clock, yeah.
Okay.
And then Dean, we're on for tomorrow at 10 and 11, correct?
Correct. Get these all wrapped up.
I'm down to one.
We're down to me and you, we always go last.
Oh, we're not the slackers.
Yeah, she always likes to go last.
Oh, Courtney.
Yes. Well, she feels comfortable, she's got all the departments
Oh, I get that.
in at
It
that
makes sense to
time.
have all the information before you present.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, I guess that's an agenda item then.
Is she coming?
Mhm.
I was gonna say we could do committee reports, but then
I
she,
can do mine really.
but then she won't make record either. No.
No.
Jack, you can come sit down.
You know what the best part today is, Zach?
What's that?
I didn't have to put up with Neil Bach's Iowa State tie until I seen your Iowa State shirt.
Someone had to.
I
That
had
was
a
the
face
best part of the day,
tattoo
and
on
now
this
you just
weekend.
ruined it.
Well,
How can you say you ruined it? It was a great game. Just because you like Iowa. I'll start wearing my Iowa State stuff now.
I think I have some.
So I've got a chat here.
Yeah,
Did you see that?
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
and that answer is no.
very good.
You know what, I could start signing these.
I can't find my video. That is bad. That you would be-
Barbara Beth.
It's not the home pro anymore. He doesn't have to fight for that seat. That's right.
Here she comes.
Scott, you might have two to do. We have to do GIS and IT.
Okay.
Yep. And then we've got to do John.
Right.
John's the hard one because the rest of the shit is-
Let me know when.
Yeah, I will contact him and see when he's
Cancel
ready.
upstairs.
Perfect.
Okay, let's go back to review and consider settlement agreement, ICP 053915A1. Is there a motion to, or is there's nothing ready to be considered or reviewed? I don't think, unless anybody has any questions. Is there a motion to consider it, approve it? Approve settlement.
I will make the motion that we settle on claim ICP 3915A1.
Is there a second to that? I will second that. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried.
Do you want to make mention that,
TGC up there.
yeah, do you want to make mention that the details will be released at a later date because we've been instructed not?
Yeah, there's been some question here in regard to this claim, and there is no details will be released. At this time, they will be released at a later date. This is a litigation that's still under, it's not finalized yet. Okay. All right, next we'll go to secondary roads. What you have? Now that I got.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We, back in the middle of December, put out some information for get quotes back on to replace our track skid loader that we have. We got 4 quotes back from Manual Equipment, Ziegler Cat, Haley Equipment, and Robinson Implement. Tried very hard to compare like machines. A little hard to do with what people have for specifications, but I think we did a pretty good job of that. And relatively close numbers, but one did stick out as being about $7,000 under the others, and that is the Kubota SVL 95 from Robinson Implement. Again, these are not all exactly apples to apples like machines, but very comparable when it comes to size and I guess what they can do from a horsepower and lifting capacity and such. I guess my recommendation is we select and go with that Kubota SVL 90L95 based on the prices we received. I guess any questions on this as far as what we looked at and what we, I guess, in the whole process.
Well, I think it's great that you got the demo all these machines. And that it appears like when you did the demo that this was the one that came out the best. That it performed and operated the best.
It did. We and demoed it on the slope that we had when we were doing that the shouldering project. That really worked well from the standpoint of kind of pushing their limits a little bit from a slope standpoint. So it was a really good test, I guess I'll say, to be able to physically have some of the operators that would be sitting in it try them out and get a sense for what they can do and pros and cons of each.
Does anybody have any questions?
Your trade-in is a Bobcat, right?
Yeah, it is a Bobcat. It's a 2012 T770 Bobcat. It's about 3,500 hours on it. It's been a good machine, but it's starting to nickel and dime us a little bit, having more littler issues, and just felt it's time to get away from those.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that the Bobcat in the demo notes, actually, it sounds like it could have been a used machine with the problems that you had.
It did, and we had one of our guys ran one somewhere else on a weekend and had a lot better luck with it. So if it was just that machine that happened to be something that didn't go well for them or for us. So I guess it's one of those things where a demo's worth something, but I guess I can't put 100% stock into every exact machine. But it definitely had its issues that day.
Okay,
Zach, you just want to comment on the discussion that we had and the email that you sent me?
I sure can. So, Gene had asked us a while back about, and indeed followed up on it again about, I know conservation was looking at wanting to look at purchasing a track loader at some point in time and whether there'd be any benefit in trying to go get a 2-for-1 deal or a better pricing. And I guess from what I found when it comes to government pricing, there really isn't, that's kind of a line that's drawn in the sand. There's really not anything above and beyond that when it comes to whether you're buying 2 or 3. And we saw this with motor graders and other things as well. So the pricing that you get from a government standpoint is pretty good, and they're not really able to dive under that a whole lot. The second part of it is I did talk with Jason, and I believe that this is something they're looking at for next year's budget, not in the current fiscal year budget. So
Right.
the stars didn't quite align from that standpoint either. So, but like I told Jason, I told him I'd be happy to share the information that we pulled together and what we found. Not exact same applications, but probably some similar ones. So.
And if they do it next year, there might be a lot of changes.
They're
But
absolutely, and that's one of the hardest things is they're ever changing. The technology that comes in these is changing by the day, it seems like.
any other questions?
Well, and the other question that I had of Zach was that, if the county, tries to keep our purchases with Carroll County vendors. And, my question to Zach was, why did not we go with the local Kubota dealer? And he said that they don't sell skid loaders. Correct, Zach?
Not Kubota skid loaders. No, they have other brand skid loaders, but not Kubota. The Robinson Implement that out of Irwin was the closest dealer that sells Kubota skid loaders.
So just to clarify that, just to make sure that everybody knows that we made an effort to buy locally, but the best and cheapest machine was out of the county. So.
Well, and the way Zach told me last week was not all Kubota dealers sell the same type of equipment. They have
Right.
That's some different types,
Really?
which
Yep.
kind of surprised me.
Well, I figured
Yeah, it
you-
does surprise me
your
too.
dealer, you sell well.
Of course, it ain't different than you got a John Deere dealership out there and we can't buy a John Deere grader from. You gotta go
Yeah.
through.
It's construction versus ag, and then it's these different lines. I think the way it works is they have to, I guess when they start that line, or they have to purchase that portion. Now, I'm not sure how they break those down, but I know obviously skid loaders are separate from like I'll call it small acreage tractors or a mini excavator or other things. That's a separate line for whatever reason. So that's apparently how they set it up. At least how that vendor sets it up.
All right.
So budget wise, you had budgeted for this?
I have budgeted for this. Will be plenty of room there from that standpoint. So
Well, I'll make a motion to purchase the Kubota SVL 95-2S from Robinson Implement for the after trade-in cost of $39,769.
Okay, there's been a motion made there. Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carries. Okay, anything else, Zach?
that's all I had today. Unless you have anything for me.
Thanks, Zach.
Thanks, Zach.
Happy New Year. Same to you.
You can clean that off your shirt.
Okay.
we're Stocking have next week too.
Did you not see the game this weekend? You had to be rooting for them.
I took a nap.
He was busy
Well,
watching,
have
he was
you
busy
know-
watching the Iowa bowl game.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
We had one.
I watched the Iowa basketball game and I rooted for them. Last minute, they ended up winning and I was happy.
Last week down at my house sometime, and I'll show you why. At 4 or 5 bowls, don't need that big.
Okay,
And I've got 30 mugs in the closet right now.
you guys,
Just kidding.
we want to go back
Do you
to,
believe that?
No, I don't
Okay,
believe
just
that.
kidding.
She don't believe me.
Of course I don't.
I didn't know if you needed me.
I've heard it way too often.
oh, well, we've had some questions.
Tire mugs on the back.
Just a sec. We've had some questions on GMT contracts. We were gonna delay it till next week.
That's fine.
But maybe you can answer them. When do we have to pay this upfront money?
The upfront money will come as they're thinking it's gonna be once a quarter. And it'll come as bill, you know what I'm saying, as they turn in the expenses, that's when we will get billed for it. It's not a big payment ahead of time, it is as,
So like, we get the quarter, we put in so much,
yeah,
and then we get our check back within
Yep.
what?
Dean, can you hear him? Dean, can you hear
me, bud?
Darryl?
Yeah.
Okay.
okay, then we get a check back, which will have all of the money that that we were entitled to, because we've already paid them. You know, we've already paid them. But they thought it would probably be once a quarter, was the last time that they talked to me about
So
it.
we pay just part of that quarter, and then we get a check back within what, maybe a month?
Yeah, maybe a month or so that they're talking.
And do you know who do we send that check to?
We will send it to PCG,
Oh,
the company.
And do they send that money to the state of Iowa then?
They will send it, yes,
And
that
then,
is their wages, then, you know, that we send a check to. That is their wages for doing the paperwork, contract, get all this done. And then we will get the whole check back.
So what we're talking the money that we gotta put up front,
Yes,
not their contribution. We're talking about what goes back to the state or federal.
oh, okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I got screwed up. That comes as we bill. Now, that'll come once a quarter as they turn into the state.
And who do we write that check?
That will come to probably the state, I'm not sure, I'll check on that.
but these are probably federal funds,
These are federal funds.
but the state has to participate in this. So I'm guessing the check goes to the state and the state deals with the Fed.
My guess it goes to the Department of Public Health, and then they ship it off to the feds. That's my guess.
And you think we'll do that quarterly based on what they're gonna try to get back from us?
Yeah.
So the money we're putting up is actually used for state matching funds?
It's a state matching fund thing. The way the state wrote it up, it's a matching fund. We gotta have matching funds. And then once the state pays us, we get it all back. I've got chills,
Is this just Medicaid and Medicare or
Medicaid.
just Medicaid?
Did I answer them good enough or confuse everyone more?
Well, in the contract, it doesn't detail the state part of it. It just talks about their fee.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 9%.
I read that.
I think there needs to be some kind of clarification on that in writing, Darryl.
I will get it
So
to you. I will talk to whoever and I will get it to you.
Maybe just a simple letterhead that states like the quarterly fee or whatever, the amount, so Courtney can work on having it budgeted.
Got it. I will work on that.
And I understand it's an estimate
Yeah.
because they don't know, but at least have a good idea.
Give you a ballpark
Yeah,
figure.
that'd be great.
Well, and if we can get that back to us, we want to act on this by next week.
Yeah, we got it.
We were planning on doing that until we had some questions.
Okay, no problem. I will get hold of Jill and the people at the Iowa Department of Public Health. Get it all straightened out.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, or through BCT or whatever.
Yeah, I'll get hold of everybody, we'll get it.
Dean, you have anything else, other question?
No, I don't think so. I think that covered it, I
Okay.
believe. Mostly just wanted to make sure that we had some type of documentation on how that reimbursement process went, I guess.
Well, and I think it's good for Courtney to know too, as far as budgeting. So
Sure. Budgeting is going to be tough, and because it's a moving target, but at least our goal here is to get more back than what we're putting in. So it should not negatively affect the budget.
Yeah.
Okay. I will get that information to others.
thank you.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Thanks, Carol.
Thanks, Darryl.
Thanks, Carol.
Okay, let's go to committee reports.
Real quickly, last week I didn't have any official meetings, just a couple phone calls trying to line up budget. Workshops, this week I have 2 with Dean tomorrow at 10 and 11, and then the jail meeting on Thursday, correct? 9 a.m.
Okay, that it? All right, I can go this last week I had a pre-budget meeting with Scott and Neil Locke at the Veterans budget, which went very well. I think we, just from our little short meeting there, I think we made a wise decision on who we hired there to take care of that Veterans Affairs situation. Then on Wednesday, I had another with Dean, a city county communications board meeting. It was a very interesting meeting. It got very heated. I would say I think there's a little spit here yet. And
I don't think it was as bad as the first time.
oh, I don't know. I thought it was. Anyway, there was 2 budgets on the floor. One was with a normal budget, and there was the budget that was presented to us originally, an additional dispatcher added to the budget. They made a motion to do a budget approve the budget without the dispatcher. It failed. We turned around, we made a motion then to approve the budget with dispatcher, and then that's when the whole topic got into a very deep discussion, and I would say somewhat heated. And we, I think, came away with the agreement that we need to do some of the 2080 agreement. And I did then reverse my vote, or I voted against the motion I had made in order to keep things flowing in a uniform manner at this point. So then we did go ahead and approve a budget without the staff increase this year. And also with that, in that motion was that we are going to meet April 1st. That's our tentative date. They have discussions on the 2080 agreement. This has become a hot issue every year when we come down to budget and what their allocation is, and we are going to try to work on some situations on this 2080 agreement. What's going to come out of that, I do not know. I've got some options which I have not. I visited a little bit with Ken, but I have not had any time to do that in detail. So that is our plan. So the budget that will be coming forward from the communications center will be without an additional dispatcher this year. Then on Thursday, I had a pre-budget with Stephanie at the roads. That was very well, went very well. This week I have the paper and radio, and on Tuesday I have CADC meeting, and then on Thursday is the jail progress meeting, and that's my week this week. Scott, do you want to give your report now?
Sure. Last week, I met with you and Neil for the Veterans Affairs meeting.
I gotta do that something.
That did go good. And I'm meeting Dean here at the courthouse at 3:00 Wednesday, and there's a jail meeting Thursday at 9.
Okay.
I can go next. the only real meeting that I had last week was with Gene and the communications board. And yeah, I would say it was fairly contentious, but I think you know, I'll have to go back. I don't know. Gene, did we talk too much about Jason's request? You know, how he laid out a very good request for another dispatcher, and I think and you believe too that it was warranted. I think it's needed. It's unfortunate that we cannot approve the dollars because of the situation we're in, but I think hopefully this meeting, which is it's needed. It's to have this meeting on April 1st hopefully we'll be able to iron things out and move the communication center ahead the way it should be. So we'll just have to wait and see. We have to wait and see how that goes.
And Dean, I'll agree with you. I think Jason did provide a very good scenario with those 2 calls, showing the need for that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that need is made, that will not be met this year. And unfortunately, it may be to the against the people that don't want to increase the budget. I mean,
yeah, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt really the
Carroll.
City of Carroll, you know, I believe, because there are more calls in Carroll. So it's unfortunate, but so the only thing I had last week too was I did get a call on a constituent that lives on Kitty Hawk. And I guess the price of steel has really gone up, and that there's a lot of salvage going to Quant right now, and that the road Kitty Hawk has got a lot of debris on it, and so I got a hold of Zach, and he was going to go take a look at it. Unfortunately, it snowed right after I got the call, so but that was my week. And yeah, this week I've got 2 meetings tomorrow with Stephanie, and 2 meetings with Rich, the Environmental Health and Conservation Board on Wednesday afternoon, and then with Scott at 3:00 on Wednesday as well. So that's going to be my week.
Okay. Rich?
Oh, hey, I got one more thing. I'm sorry. I just noticed, and I made a note of this, the settlement agreement. I believe it's in the first paragraph. They have Courtney's name spelled wrong. I don't know. I can't be the only one that noticed that, but.
No, I saw it too.
Yeah, it should probably be. It should probably be changed, I would think.
Actually,
So it'd be correct.
I'm looking at the one, I think I might have sent you the one before it got signed by the person, and it is spelled correctly on the one I have here. So.
The one that's signed is not corrected.
The one I'm looking at right now is.
Oh, okay.
So, and I received a couple different ones, so I'm not exactly sure. But
Well, you're aware of it.
Yeah, I did see the one you're talking about where my name was spelled wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at this one and it's spelled correctly, so
Okay.
All right, Rich?
Very good.
anyway.
Okay, last week I didn't have too much. I had Rolling Hills, and I set in on the Zoom on that on Wednesday. There's a couple predicaments that the region might be in with some unknown answers. And they'll be more digging into that to find out. Dawn will be here in just a little bit. She has just left Rockville City. She should be here anytime in the next half hour. So I'll let her discuss that. We're faced with some financial challenges as the percentages are being spent. As you know, the legislator has allowed us to go up to 35% now. and we were trying to, they originally said we had to be below 20. Well, the adjustments have been made, and we were starting to dip quite a lot. So there will be an increase. The question is whether it's gonna be 39 per capita or the full 4279. There's two scenarios that have been run. The board had not made a decision on that, and we're going to in the future. And Don will be here, and like I said, a little bit, and have more explanation on that.
You said 39 or 49?
What's that?
39 or 49?
39 or 4279, which is the state max. That's the max that we.
Where are we at now?
36.
So
39 or 42,
79.
35.
32, 79.
So those two, that number is really not known yet, and we'll know more here in the next week or so. This week, Dean and I are going to do a couple of budget assignments on Wednesday. Thursday is the jail, and I'm gonna try to line up a couple, I have two with Scott, and I'm gonna try to get some things lined up, see if we can get that maybe this week too. And I wanna go back and revisit one thing that Gene had, and Dean, thanks for your work on this 911 issue that we're in. I do wanna make one statement, and I wanna make a statement loud and clear. I watched the city council meeting. Number one, they threw us right square underneath the bus. They also said that they had made a statement, they had reached out to several of the county board of supervisors. I never received one call of any kind. There's a lot more to this story. I'm not sure the city manager's not presenting the whole story. I'm not sure the mayor is presenting the whole story. But I also want to make sure that everyone knows that there is more to this than just the 911 calls. Well, there's a large amount of calls for the ambulance service in this community. We do not pass any of that call off to them, cost at all. They need to be reminded of the services they're getting from the county. They're trying to point to these 5 chairs as being the problem. Their financial woes come from their 6 chairs, not ours. So I just want to make sure that that's loud and clear. And if they would like to call me and visit about it, I'm more than welcome to a phone call.
Okay, you got anything, Courtney?
I don't.
Enough what's on for next week? So Jim?
I have putting salaries on the agenda for next week, so hopefully you guys are gonna wanna talk about that. I think it's important to make a decision for budgeting purposes.
Exactly.
You also need to make a decision, as far as the comp board recommendation and what you wanna do with that. So we'll address the comp board letter, and then we'll also have a agenda item that will discuss non-elected, non-union, non-deputy employees, so you guys can talk about that. We've got some nonprofits that are coming in, the fair, community of concern, Manning Main Street's gonna be in to request some additional funding, and soil and water so far.
You're gonna wanna put on that GEMT.
Oh, yeah,
letterhead.
yeah, thank you. And I do believe, let me look at the schedule, looks like it'll be a bill day as well, so.
Okay. Unless anybody's got anything, I think we'll go into a recess until she comes to talk to us about Rolling Hills. So is there a motion? We don't need to have a motion.
No.
So we're gonna go into recess. Dean, you want us to give you a call?
I'll just stay on, you know.
Okay.
Can I do that?
Email
Yeah.
John and see.
Yeah, I'll just stay on. I guess I have a question for Courtney. Was there a budget spreadsheet on Rolling Hills?
Not that I received.
Okay.
No, we're not ready for that, I don't think just yet.
Okay, okay, very good. So is she going to come again and present a budget then, Rich, or?
She's gonna come and talk about all this, yes,
Okay,
and give you her thoughts of where she thinks this budget is
You can
headed.
take us off live for a little bit.
all right.
All right, Don,
Sure.
welcome. You're
Hi,
gonna
Jane.
bring us up to date. Happy New Year's to you.
Happy New Year, good to see you again. It's been a year since I've been out to see you, COVID kind of restricted a lot of meetings, and it's been pretty busy the last 6 months. I spent September through December doing 3 rounds of CARES applications, and that took a huge amount of my time. And then at the end of December, we had to reconcile those payments, and then following that, we found out that there has been an extension on our ability to use CARES dollars. So I requested last week at the board meeting that I get a little bit of a reprieve from dealing with the CARES funds, and we're going to wait until spring to authorize another round. So your budget is very easy for me to put together because you don't have any coordinators for the region located directly in Carroll. You are covered by Louise Galbraith, who is based out of Crawford County. And she comes over to Carroll. I think she's over here once, maybe twice a week, depending on workload and clients that have been referred to her, meetings, et cetera. So when I put your budget together, I pulled the ending balance off of the GAB report for Carroll County on the Department of Management website. And so your GAB ending balance for June 30th was $131,817. Your re-estimated expenditures are just your per capita, which is based on the 36 per capita for Carroll County. And you have no revenue coming in because we're not paying a salary. And your levy was set at $686,328, and so I'm projecting an ending balance of $92,601. The governance board met last Wednesday. They looked at a couple different scenarios. We are currently at a 36 per capita, and I gave them a 39 per capita recommendation, which is what you're seeing currently. And that $39 per capita based on your 2019 population estimate of 20,165 would be 786,435. And we have been working towards zeroing out the county balances because fiscal year 22 is the year that as an aggregate, the counties and the region have to be below a 40% fund balance per Iowa code. So with you not having the ability to spend for mental health services directly out of your county, it all has to be out of the Rolling Hills Fiscal Agent Fund. There would be no reason for you to utilize or hold dollars in that ending balance. And this does make some of the auditors a little bit concerned, and so that's probably why you have a little bit of a fund balance sitting there. And I know that I did receive some questions from a few board members about getting down to a zero balance because of delinquent tax collections, and then if that were to happen, then you can't contribute your full amount. I would suggest if you end up with ending fund balance for FY22, that it not be 92,601. It needs to be much lower than that, because what's going to happen then if we are over 40% within the regional fiscal agent fund plus the counties, then it's going to be up to us to determine as a governance board and myself how we are going to provide that back to each individual county in terms of property tax relief for FY24. So that's not a scenario I really want to get into. I would like to, if you want to hold a small balance, that's not going to throw the entire regional balance off to a great extent. I would be okay with that, Courtney. So
Well, and I would be fine just having in there what we happen to collect after June.
sure.
Just few dollars that you might come in late taxes.
And could you give me a ballpark as far as how much that would be usually?
I don't know, this year's hard because we let people pay up until, what was that, August 1st?
Yeah.
So we had a lot of them come in after that. I don't know, maybe I could look at the year before that and see. It can't be that much.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking maybe a few $1,000s
Okay.
at the most, I would guess.
$10,000.
Because obviously you can't really
$5,000.
bank on that because
Yeah.
you aren't gonna have the money, to pay. If that's gonna be part of your region's payments, you aren't gonna have that money when you need to make your payment in June or March or whenever. I will look at what we did, not this last summer, but the summer before, and see how much we collected, because I think that'll be a better estimate.
Well, and keep in mind that FY22 levy is just a recommendation. It is up to you as a board to determine where you want your ending balance to
to be at the end of fiscal year 22.
So if we wanted to keep it in the $5,000 to $10,000 range, is that gonna throw the whole region off? Or would you want to see it more in like the 2,500 to
No,
5,000?
I think 5 to 10 would be fine.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and I have no counties at 0 yet. I've been recommending this for the last couple of
Yeah.
years, but, you know, ultimately, if you have that money sitting there and the region would for some reason need to tap into those county fund balances, the board does have the authority, unfortunately, for you. So we could say you have 92,601 sitting there, and that those are actually regional dollars, even though they're in Carroll County and were paid by Carroll County tax dollars. The way the code reads is that all funds held within the counties and the fiscal agent are subject to the region. So we are in control of all of those finances. This all switched in 2014 when regions took effect, so. You have the local authority to raise those dollars, but they are basically for regional spending.
Since you're here, it might be a good time to bring up. So last year, or the year we're in now, wait a minute. Yeah, this year. Did we get any reimbursement from the region for our previous arrangement with Rosie?
Yes.
Because I was thinking that they gave us reimbursement in 21 and she wasn't employed the whole year.
No, we did not pay for fiscal year 21. It was for fiscal year 20, we would have paid around $28,000.
Okay, that's the year I'm thinking of.
Yes.
Because she left employment in the spring, so there was a few months there that we didn't.
But you probably paid some unemployment perhaps?
No, we didn't have to pay unemployment,
Okay.
but we did have to pay out vacation and things like that. I was just thinking that there might be some of our ending fund balance, a portion of that may need to go back to the region because they overpaid us. Does that make sense? Like, because they pay us for her salary or half of her salary, half of her taxes, half of her health insurance. So would you want me to calculate what that is? And then should the county just issue a payment back to the region for that, or?
What I would recommend, Courtney, is that if you want to calculate the amount, I can send you our regional independent auditor's email address
Okay,
and let her know, you know, work through that with her,
okay,
because she's gonna probably question it at some point. And she'll find that. So definitely it's a good point to bring up that you should, you know, look at that. It might only be $3,000 or $4,000, but still I think it's good to be transparent about it.
okay. I will look at that.
And I'll send you her email.
Okay.
But so really, in essence, there's no need for us to carry a balance, really, is there?
No,
Especially now that we're paying our contributions after taxes.
I mean, if we don't get our taxes, what's the worst scenario? We're gonna be delinquent.
you're gonna just be short and you have to hope
Or,
that you make up the problem.
and we can't use local. We could use fill it by,
You can't transfer.
oh, that's right.
That's why we always have to levy for the mental health, because we can't use other money.
That we've done.
You could do what's like, maybe you could do like an internal loan where you're loaning, you could maybe loan the mental health
Or
fund the
just
money
be
and they would
short.
have to pay you back then the next year through,
Or we just be short for the time being.
yeah, that might not be, that might not go
Yeah,
over very
all
well.
counties end up short.
Yeah. But I think you can do what's, instead of transferring the money, you could do what's like an internal loan where you're gonna borrow, mental health fund's gonna borrow the money.
Because we take, our taxes came in short.
Yeah, and then you would just have to pay it back then.
But I mean, I'm almost thinking that'd be better to do it that way instead of screwing when you got a bank balance.
Yeah.
What do you think, Rich?
Well, I don't want to cut this down too much, but, I mean, I don't know if I want to go through the loan, but it can be done, but does it make a problem for you?
Well, the only problem that would happen is if you come up short because of delinquent taxes in the mental health fund and you transfer and then you don't collect the taxes to be able to pay the fund back, because that you cannot do.
Right.
So yeah, I would want to avoid that if at all possible.
So we are better off having a small balance then.
A small little fund.
5 to 10.
Well, and I certainly don't want to tax you. If we've got revenues or reserve that we're not using, and we've got to get rid of it, I certainly would like to use it as much as we can this year. Why we would be fooled.
If we wound up with a shortfall there in taxes, should we use our reserves?
Yeah, I mean, the reserves are part of the fund balance. Like, part of that 92, whatever.
No, I mean, let's say if we had zero fund balance in the mental health,
Well, there wouldn't be any reserves then.
you couldn't take them out of general.
No.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to ask, okay.
You know, so her recommendation of maybe the 5 to 10 is probably not a bad idea, and you could probably even be closer to the 5.
I feel more comfortable closer to the 10.
Yeah.
And I don't know what has happened to us in the last year is going to affect our tax collection. What has been going on is typical years may not be this year. We don't anticipate that, but
Do you mean
I
as
mean,
far as like
typically,
delinquent?
we don't have, even our tax sales have went down.
Yeah.
Typically, we don't have much issue here.
right.
It amounts to a few dollars, and it's usually properties that are.
It's usually the same individuals year after year, it
properties
seems
that
like.
they abandoned.
The only things that are hanging out there that's flashing up on the radar to me is there's a moratorium on rent and things like that. And the people that own those rental properties could get themselves in a position where they're not collecting rent, that property tax could be an issue to them. I don't think it's a large segment, but I think it could be a spike. I don't look for it to ever continue, but,
Okay.
it's just,
Let's go with
yeah, but I think I'd maybe err on the 10 side more than the 5 this time, and then maybe,
Well, and once you got it there, and maybe the following year, if we don't use it, we can just carry it over,
just roll
roll
it.
it.
I think we can get away with that, without you jumping through a bunch of hoops for property tax relief.
Or if you think 10's too much, and you have 10 at the end, and you wanna go with 5, you just levy less, the 10,000 less
Right.
that next year, and then get it down to the 5.
Well, and when I've done aggregate ending balance projections, putting in an extra 10,000 for one county isn't gonna change the percentage whatsoever, but when you have 10 counties per
Yes.
se, and that adds up to 100,000, that's going to change. But our regional balance is depleting very rapidly. Our governance board met last Wednesday. Rich was really privileged to join us for that meeting. It only lasted, 2.5 hours?
Yeah, about that.
And we had a lot of discussion around the budget, and what I've proposed to you today is a $39 per capita target. We also looked at a $42.79. We are currently at a 36 per capita. I did get some pushback from one board member in particular who no longer is on the board as of January 1st, on going from 36 to 42.79. But if you can keep in mind that last year, my recommendation to the board was 38.68, and they went with 36. So we are going to be feeling the effects of that, and that decision to go 36 last year is going to put us to a max per capita of 42.79. quicker
A
than you
year,
probably
at
would.
least a year in.
Did you print off the one that I sent Thursday? This is the, Brent had asked me to recalculate our home SAC. I didn't bring it with me, but we definitely are utilizing our reserves. For FY 21, if we go with the $39 per capita, oh, this is the 36
This is
for FY 22.
39.
Okay, gotcha. So if we, for FY 22, go with the $39 per capita, that we would, as a region, not including counties, end up with fund balance of $2,491,764, or 27%. So that's getting right down there to that 25%. And then in subsequent years, if we stay at that 39, we would be at 23% after 23 and 17% in 24, impossible to pay our bills. So on the 15th of January, the board is going to be meeting again to look at where they feel the longevity of the region can stay. So I knew we would get to this point at some point because you cannot have adding all these services. Children's mental health was added to the regions this year. We also have all of these core crisis expectations. We do not have them all yet. We were really building momentum between our region and Sioux Rivers, which is to the north and west of us, on looking at, we have to have an access center for people who are in crisis. And since we already have a facility in Sioux City, it's called the Sioux Rivers Assessment and Stabilization Center. They provide crisis stabilization in Woodbury County, and we're covering the Sioux Rivers region as well. And they also provide 23-hour observation. Both of those are core services. Sioux Rivers decided about a month ago that they want to do something on their own, pull away from us, sell the property in Sioux City, and put a facility in Sheldon. So right now, we are kind of hanging in the lurch as far as what's going to happen going forward. I would hate to, in the process of having to develop services, to lose two really critical services for our region. So I'm not sure how that's all going to play out. We also have another crisis center in Sac City, and between the two, we are funding them at the tune of $1.2 million between both programs. And the utilization for both has not been where we would like to see it. I just ran the numbers for Turning Point in Sac City a couple weeks ago, and I figured out over the last 6 months, the utilization, they can serve up to 8 people at a time. The actual bed days provided averaged out to be a half a person to a person and a half a day. And at that cost, you cannot feasibly sustain it. So we've got to make some tough decisions when we meet again on the 15th. The budget that I had proposed was $9,389,228. That is $250,000 over our per capita max of $9,132,230. I had asked the board a couple of different times to give me some recommendation on whether they're comfortable utilizing reserve balance by deficit spending. It makes me very leery. Very leery, and I'm willing to make some adjustments to our budget, but obviously these are gonna come at a price.
So what are we doing, what are they doing differently at Turning Point than Stepping Stones? Because Stepping Stones is full with a waiting list.
Right, so
So what
that's
is the-
transitional living.
Okay.
So people are transitional living, and my coordinators tell me this all the time, excuse me, that we should have, transition services should be mandated versus all these crisis services, because our transition, you are right, Wesco provides our transition services in Vail. They are full all the time. In fact, they're gonna be opening up another second one. And so we know that we're paying a lot of money for those two programs. They're not core. I would hate to have the board make the decision that that's where we can gain access to $800,000 and then all these people cannot be served. Especially after we've put in the infrastructure, provided the funding for both renovations and furnishings for both, for them to get started. But obviously, it's not a Medicaid funded program. So the region's paying the bill, and it's doing some great things for folks. They can stay, if they don't have a place to go, and we need 3 months to line up services to get people back out into their own homes in the community.
But isn't this
That was
also
right.
eliminating them from using that other services?
No, not necessarily. Actually, Turning Point has really sent a lot of people to Stepping Stones. So Turning Point, the difference there, Stephanie, is that this is short-term crisis stabilization. So at Turning Point, they can stay, a person can be admitted if they're not really in need of that acute level of care in a hospital setting. They can go into Turning Point if they don't need that inpatient, of course, and they can stay for 3 to 5 days and receive that wraparound support and just stabilize them in their, mental health. And if they determine that, maybe the person doesn't have a place to go beyond Turning Point and they still need that extra support, they can go to Stepping Stones, provided that they have beds available, and receive that transitional living for up to 3 months. So it's really a great way for those services to work together. And, it provides that that transition for folks to get back into their normal level of functioning. But like I said, it's not core. We have a lot of things for funding that aren't core that do a lot of good, unfortunately. So. Rich is really happy that he joined the board. I'm happy that he did. I think he'll be a very good addition to my governance board.
So how many core services are we not providing yet?
I believe it's 3. So we need an access center, we need a subacute level of care, which can be provided in an access center, and the intensive residential service homes. We call them IRSH. It's a really intensive level of supportive community living for people that have multiple complex needs. I cannot find a provider in our region that is even interested in providing that support. So, you can't get a provider to offer the service, and we know it's going to be a really high cost service to provide that level of support to a few individuals. They don't want to take the risk. Plus, the MCOs still have not given us rates and guaranteed funding for it. So if there's no guarantee that Medicaid is going to pay, then the regions are on the hook for it all.
I don't know how they expect us to do all this stuff and then not provide funding or.
I agree. But I'm not hearing that there's going to be any change in the legislature to the regions receiving any state funding.
Not even addressed or just kind of done.
Dennis Bush from Cherokee County, I don't know if any of you know Dennis, okay. He is a very strong champion for mental health, and he was elected to Senator Representative Dan Huseman's seat in his district, and so he is now going to be serving for us. He'll be a great addition on our behalf. He did get on the Health and Human Services Subcommittee, so that is a good thing. But he said that there is this misperception down amongst the legislators that the regions have all this fund balance that they're sitting on, and it's definitely not the case. As you can see, we've got a nice solid fund balance right now, but when we've got all these expectations and additional services, that only goes so far. And so obviously when we're doing projections, those fund balances are factored into that. And so there is this, I guess, he was at a caucus at the end of December, and one of the representatives spoke up and stated that the regions, there's no reason that the region shouldn't have all these core crisis services developed already, or that they can't meet the deadline of July 1st because they've got all this money. Dennis stood up and, provided his rebuttal, and I guess he said it got pretty heated, but he'll be a really good one to work on behalf of regions down at State House. But as far as receiving any money, I don't look for that to happen. So,
Just more expectations.
correct.
So your board's gonna meet again in January and they'll settle on what the per capita
Correct,
amount is.
and then I will be sending out a final number to all of the auditors.
So what do you think it's gonna wind up at?
39.
Do you really think it'll be at 39?
I really do.
I'd like to see it at 40.
Can't you guys meet in the middle, about 40, like 40, 25?
I sensed that there was a push at 39. I didn't get a feel, does Pocahontas and Humboldt vote on this?
They do not vote on this, but this will affect them
It will
next year.
affect them, but it will not, they don't get a vote.
They don't get a vote on anything until July 1st.
And we don't know who the new person is at property.
It's going to be Jean Hayden, but I have not met her.
I don't know.
I just know her name.
Gene,
Hayden?
Or what do we do with
That's what she projects we'll have left in 21.
Gotcha.
And then, so if we levy that, that would bring us to
Right
zero.
now, using
next year.
39,
Right,
we were levying $693,000.
right. And I think, I don't have my FY 21 stuff in front of me, but I think it's just a little bit above, obviously, like, it's 80,000 more than where you are this year. Well, I don't know what you actually levied. I'd have to go back and look at my spreadsheet, but I know it was just a slight increase for all the counties. Big impact for the region, obviously, but for the counties, there's gonna be a difference. I have my phone, I could calculate it for you, but I didn't bring it in, so.
So we really don't know anything until after your board meeting then.
Not until after the board meeting. If you want to advocate for something in between, we can.
I just would rather see it incrementally go up rather than go from 39 to 42 or 40, you know what I mean? To me, it makes more sense to try to do it.
To do more gradual slope instead of a bam.
Yeah.
Try to cut it down.
If you know that's the way it's gonna go, why not start doing some stepping?
So it's not such an impact in 2024 or whatever, 2022.
So in your recommendation, would you think of a 2-year step or a one and then take a year?
If I had my way and I would have a vote on it, I'd go 4279 next year because we're feeling the effects of going too low for this year. But I'm not gonna get that say, I can recommend it, but the board will probably go with a more conservative approach. Unfortunately, I'm not looking forward to the days when we are negative.
A lot of regions that are that way.
Yes. I believe the eastern region, which includes Scott County is where the CEO is located, there's like 5 counties over to the east, and they had to cut out a FY20 budget. Gosh, it was an exorbitant amount, like $500,000.
Is that
In 1 year.
Cedars then?
What's that?
Cedar County in that?
No, they would be the east, there's 2 eastern regions, one is the eastern region and one is the east central region, and I think that's where Cedar would be.
Because they've always had problems there too, I think, haven't
We've been running a deficit for 20 years.
Yeah, Cole County, obviously, they're always in need of money.
Always in deficit.
they? Okay, anything else?
I don't believe so unless you have questions. Dan, do you have any questions for me?
You're on mute.
Muted, Dean.
Of course I'm on mute. No, I really don't have any questions. I don't have anything in front of me, so I'm gonna be in the courthouse tomorrow, so I'll go over this with Courtney. And I guess it's puzzling to me about the crisis center up in Sac City. You know, where are these people going if we're not full up there?
I think a lot of the people that are being served end up in the ER. And the ER does refer to the crisis center if a person's appropriate for that versus an inpatient level of care. We have mobile crisis launched within all of our counties. That's been in existence for a little over a year. We were really hoping through the mobile crisis outreach that our staff are doing, or not our staff, excuse me, Plains area and Sealand Mental Health staff are doing along with law enforcement, that we would have more people at our crisis center. But typically, they're assessed and either they end up being referred for outpatient or they're taken to the ER. So that just has not had that impact that we were hoping for, unfortunately. But then I think COVID too has, changed a lot of things. It's slowed down the access of both of our centers. So.
Yeah, but my understanding, COVID has created issues as well in the mental health.
Absolutely. Yes, we are definitely seeing that.
So you said, what they were looking at is 39 per capita.
Right.
What are we currently now is?
36.
36.
So we need to go from 36 to 4279. It's how many steps and what step you want to take. And then give me some guidance and I'll advocate for you.
So it's 4279 max, even at risk.
So you're looking at
I would
6.
go at least 40 something.
That's where we're
And
at.
then next year.
If you look at the difference between 36 and 4279, it's about a little over $6. We're moving up 3. That's half of it. So do we need to go more than half?
I guess I didn't think of it that way.
My other question, I guess I just thought of now, if we do go to 4279, are we gonna be sustainable then?
No region's sustainable, unfortunately.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. That's kind
I
of
thought that's what the answer was, but I just wanted to get clarified.
kind of what I heard this weekend. That's the reason I held up the sign at the end. My first meeting. I told her if I
You made an
signed on
impact.
Zoom. I
quit.
This is an unsolvable problem.
Well, again, I think that the meeting on the 15th, we're gonna have to make some really tough decisions, and I think one of the things that we're gonna have to look at is, do we wanna meet? If by code, we have to have all the core services available in our region by July 1st.
And what happens if you don't?
There's no real punishment at this point, because the state doesn't have any dollars in the game. But I have been hearing that because regions are not going to meet this, that the governor and the DHS top management are saying that they are not going to accept that regions are, basically, they're not gonna accept or provide any extensions on the deadline. But if for our situation, like I mentioned on the arch, if you don't have a provider that will do it, what are you supposed to do? I mean, some of that down, the discussions down in Des Moines need to come out to the regions and look at reality. Because
That is always the case, they need to get their boots on the ground out here.
yeah, because if we don't have a provider, we're not gonna meet that requirement, so.
Now, there is some telehealth, some things we could look into, and I did hear that mentioned. But that's not a real viable solution for everything.
How many-
There are certain pieces you probably need to do it.
How many of these core services can we do in partnership with other regions?
Well, we could have probably met the Access Center and the subacute. And unfortunately, with Sioux Rivers making the decision that they did,
What was the reason they did that?
They don't like Woodbury. That's the gist I got out of it. They don't like Woodbury County.
Well, like Italian,
it's
I
bad
know
blood,
that.
bad
That's-
history. And
And it's just-
unfortunately, that needs to just let sleeping dogs lie, because it has been nothing but tremendous having Woodbury County join our region. And I know that there were a lot of supervisors that were nervous about being the big fish and the little rural population.
We were that way.
Yes,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I understand that, and I had my hesitations for a long time, because when they approached us in the fall of 17, they had already taken action in their board meeting prior to calling me, passing a resolution to join Rolling Hills before they even reached out to me, and I thought, oh my, what are we getting ourselves into here? And there was a lot of mudslinging back and forth. There was just a lot going on that I had to really decipher carefully what was the actual true picture. And as it turned out, Woodbury County's been just an excellent partner in our
to be
region.
truthful, I'm on the juvenile detention center board up there and up at Cherokee, and I hear a lot of that on a lot of different programs. There's a lot of friction between different counties, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's too bad, because that would have been a great partnership.
They really left us in a lurch, and I can say that because I said it when we met with their board. Their CEO and staff had been attending our planning meetings that started in April of 19. I had multiple stakeholders at the table, including law enforcement, and if you can get law enforcement to come consistently every month because they're so excited about the possibility of developing an access center, they came to every meeting and reaped the benefits, because of course we planned all of those and did all the minutes, and they walked along beside us. And then what basically they're saying is that the Sioux Rivers board members have been pushing on Plains Area Mental Health, which is located out of Lamar, is their main office, pushing on the director for over a year to look at putting an access center in the northwest location. Well, then of course they had a couple other counties join them. Dickinson is now in their region, so that changed their whole landscape. So she put a proposal before the Sioux Rivers board, and when I got a call from Shane that they were gonna sell the building in Sioux City and we were gonna be left without, she decided to rescind her proposal. But now they're in the process of taking bids for an RFP. What's that, Jane?
Who's Sioux Rivers?
Sioux Rivers would be
No, I mean, the
the CEO,
director, CEO,
Shane Walter.
yeah. That's what I thought.
So, and I guess
Is he behind us quite a bit?
is he what?
Is he one behind us quite a bit?
I don't, I think there's probably 2 stories and there's something in between that probably happened,
I think so.
somewhere in the middle, who knows?
Then
But we had a meeting.
I don't think he's totally out of the picture on that whole thing.
And there are also some in the building, the old region helped pay for some of it.
Yeah, Woodbury County paid 63% of that building when they were in sewer reverse, and now they're gonna try to sell it to Rolling Hills and have Woodbury County contribute again, that's double dipping.
It's double dipping.
So,
Yeah.
That's what we got done.
Well, there's a lot of there's a lot of bad blood up in that area.
there is, unfortunately.
There it is, boy, we sensed it when they were coming in, man, did we got cornered every supervisor meeting, we went to, oh, no, don't do that.
It's been great, the partnerships that we've had developed within Woodbury County and the services that they brought into our region has been outstanding.
Yeah.
And all of the providers have just been really supportive of our region and wanting to do good things for Rolling Hills, so that's been great.
So
So if you're wanting some direction,
I want some direction, like I said, if you wanna go try to, I'll advocate for wherever you want to go with it. If you wanna make the big jump, we can, if it's just, we know what our budget process here is gonna be quite strained.
I may look at, based on our conversation today, that maybe I'll look at a 40. Give them a couple different scenarios so that if we don't go straight to the max, that we can sustain services a little bit longer. Fortunately, we've got a solid fund balance right now, but we did not get all of our core services developed during FY20 that we had intended to, and I had $1 million budgeted for that. But we weren't able to, well, we utilized some of it because we made some decisions on bringing services into the region that we used those dollars, but we had a big carryover balance of that because of COVID, we weren't able to get everything done. So,
I guess, Rich, as far as my point, I would say if you're gonna have to go with that 39 at least. And I wouldn't be opposed to going a little above that, maybe up to 40.
That's,
Because you're talking,
Since I mean-
at 40, you're talking what, another $10,000 from us?
Yeah.
At least that's another step.
What was that, Gene? What was your proposal?
If we would go up to 40 instead of 39, that's only like $10,000 additional for us a year. That's
yeah.
So that next year, it's not such a
Such a big,
significant
yeah.
jump.
so. Leave it in your court.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, that 39 and 40. At least that's moving in the right direction.
right, so, Courtney, if you're working on putting the budget together, at least you have a number to work with to help your overall budget, but we meet Friday afternoon that day, so I won't get anything out yet that afternoon, so it'll have to be that following Monday.
Yeah, we're gonna be, we all knew this was gonna be,
The day of reckoning was coming. Well, and as I sit here, and maybe you can point out to where I'm wrong, the state can do it, can do mental health. And your tax dollars go to them and they do with it what they see fit. But we here can keep our local tax dollars doing what we want to do versus what they tell us we have to do. And that may be the advantage of the way we're doing it. We can see the direct effect of our tax dollars a little bit better. There's a couple of different ways to look at that. Yeah, would I like to get money out of the state? It's still my money, so.
Yeah. I like the way we did it before. It was on the county level.
County took care of the county
A
level.
little easier to keep track of stuff.
Well, you know exactly what your needs are for your county.
well, I think that actually we did, and I think truthfully, when we were together with BV, we were doing an excellent job. I just use different language, but I thought I better stand it up. I mean, but when you get that state involvement in it, it's just.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you don't get that closeness to the client. I mean, you remove yourself farther away from the problem.
well, our coordinators, they do a great job of being out, working with the providers and the clients, and so they keep me apprised. I know where all the fires are that need to be put out, and that's usually how involved I get, so. my job has really changed over the
Well,
past
let me
few
ask you
years.
one more question.
Sure.
How much more do you want to take on here? I mean, just started out with 6 counties and now you're up to,
Yes, thank you. I'll do. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
No more. This is it. Pocahontas and Humboldt are pretty small. I think in between two, their population is 16,000. So that to me is not gonna have a huge impact. We do need to get some services provided in those counties. But as far as taking on more counties, I feel like we would just get unwieldy. I don't want to get into
well,
a
and the thing
situation
is,
like
those 2 counties are probably not going to provide any more additional services to us. Are they?
that. They were orphaned.
Yeah.
When CSS broke up. And so now they had to find a home and they looked at their only 2 options. Well, they had 3 options. They could have gone to Central Iowa and they didn't want to do that. They went to one of the Northwest Iowa meetings. They chose not to go there either. And they came to our meeting and they liked the way the meetings are run, and they knew we had a lot in terms of collaboration with law enforcement within our region. They were just really looking at this being the best fit for them.
Just for curiosity, do you know how their funds, reserve funds are setting? They're a non-voting member, and here we are, could really slap them upside the face pretty hard, and they have to have money, so.
Yeah, no, they've got just small balances. I want to say Pocahontas has like 60 and Humboldt maybe 80.
So they've kind of been doing very similar.
All the regions are trying to get down to that threshold.
Right.
Okay.
Right, very good.
Anything else?
Just one more question, Dawn. Do you see any push from the state for any reduction of the number of regions? Because that was kind of on the table a couple years ago.
I think that there was always that threat. There has not been any recent discussion of that. I know right now there's a bill out there, or the governor and the Kelly Garcia, who's the Medicaid director, they would like to see mental health and public health combined. That's just been floated out there. I don't know if that's gonna happen, Dean, but as far as getting down to fewer regions, it probably should happen. There are some regions in the state that are so small, I don't know how that they can even function. Southern Hills I think their population is, 40 or 50,000 total. And she can't they don't have the capacity to meet the core service requirements. So, in some respects, I think that could be a good thing in some areas of the state. But the thought of our region being 10 counties, July 1st, and then we have, let's say, Sioux Rivers collapses into our region, and then you end up with 16, 20 counties, you're getting into the same situation at County Social Services, where there was just, the eastern side of the region and the western side, there was just a lack of, I think the supervisors feeling like they were getting the most bang for their buck. So.
I just see that if you would get down to like 3 regions, basically the state's going to control it then.
I need your sign. Yeah, I'll need Rich to sign at that point, which says I quit.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for Dawn? Thank you, Dawn.
All right, thank you
Keep
for
up
the
the
opportunity.
good work.
Thank you. We will sure try.
And we have nothing else. We're in order for motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Oh.
Is there a second?
Slow.
I second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary?
We're quick on your feet.
Take us offline. I'm not sure, but I would say like 99.9% of all of our meetings, you make personal